I need to move to the left of Baldy. There we go. Okay, now let me make sure the audio source is correct, because we don't want any situations where you hear double audios or anything weird like that. Okay, that looks fine, that looks fine. The Asmongold vid, yes. Alright, let's press play. Please don't explode. Wait, is it in ×2 speed? No, okay. You guys are safe from my, sped up zoomerism.
Hey guys, it's
Hi!
me again, and it's been a little while. Just before I get into the main topic of the video, I want to explain why there
Also, let me know if the audio quality and volume is good enough for you guys.
haven't been any videos. My dad has been in the hospital for the better part of a week now.
Oh yeah, okay, not F in the chat, but definitely, Prager's in the chat for, Asmon's dad. I heard he had pancreatic cancer. He's been in and out the hospital recently, so definitely thoughts and prayers to Asmon's dad. Poor dude. Apparently he's quite beloved among the community. Everyone seems to think he's quite a nice guy, so very, very difficult situation Asmon is in, unfortunately. Not zoomer speed, bless, Keck W, yeah.
Very serious situation. It has required my full attention. And because of that, I've been on calls, I've been dealing with other people, talking to members of the family, and doing everything that I need to be there for my dad and for my family during this situation. And because of that, I haven't been live and I haven't made a lot of videos. I apologize for that. Hopefully I'll be back as soon as possible. That being said, we had something insane happen today, and I was able to break away a little bit earlier, and I wanted to make a video about it and talk about the obvious and inevitable nature of the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
F in the chat, boys, for Charlie Kirk. And some pray gay emotes for his family.
This happened a few hours ago, and it was probably one of the most gruesome and graphic, and this is coming from somebody who grew up on LiveLeak, videos I've ever seen. The first time I saw a video, I thought it was AI generated. The guy gets shot in the neck, and blood is spurting out. I didn't even know it could do that. And
yeah, that's what happens when the arteries and all the blood vessels in your neck go kabooms. F Praga, thanks Malto. I actually saw the video myself. It was very gruesome, horrible way to die. And I don't know if this is confirmed, but I also heard that apparently his family was like right there, and apparently because the sound of the gunshot was so scary, his little daughter tried to run towards him. But yeah, man, horrible stuff all around.
It was absolutely fucking horrifying to see something like that happen in front of a massive audience of people. Now, if you don't know who Charlie Kirk is, Charlie Kirk has been a pretty noteworthy, like controversial guy.
Only a few feet away?
He goes to a lot of college campuses, does live debates. This is a pretty popular format nowadays.
Censored version of
Charlie Kirk
yeah, it was
has been
pretty gruesome.
popularizing it and utilizing it now for many years, and he was even featured in South Park recently because of it. Charlie Kirk definitely is not a super radical right-wing person.
Apparently, from what I heard, he was very moderate in his views. Like, I even saw a whole lot of discourse on Twitter, where people were even posting memes about how, after Charlie Kirk, then comes the right-wing death squads, because, they basically killed the mild guy, now all that's left is everybody else being completely radicalized by it.
But I would say that he's more of the moderate to,
very
kind
moderate.
of extreme right wing. Very, very, I would say, lukewarm,
in
my opinion. At least especially,
taste? Yes.
And this is where we're going, especially
pretty sound,
compared
normal
to now.
guy.
And what I think is going to happen now, because obviously,
he still thought the commies could be talked to? Well, in a lot of situations, yes, but unfortunately, there's a lot of bad actors there that are completely bonkers.
Happen inside of a vacuum, and they never do. They never have. And I think that the situation.
Hold up. The what wing, what squads? I thought this isn't a history lesson. Well, of course, when I mention the death squads, the German guy tends to pop up in chat. Hello, Situation Man. How you doing? Welcome back. I haven't seen you in a few days. Unfortunately, I had PC problems, so I wasn't able to stream. But you're a welcome sight to see. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. But yeah, anyways, I don't know if you also saw this thing on Twitter, where after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, people were posting half serious, I hope not too serious memes about now that the normal conservative guys are gone, that the right-wing death squads are now going to be the only alternative. Scary stuff. Despair game,
Situation
yep,
that we
true.
have right now is
There's a lot of tension and just grief going around.
that
Hello,
there is
CT and
a
Twitch Bros. Hello.
tremendous
Hey,
amount of
CT
political
Fasalis says hello.
violence that is
He's on kick.
advocated for, promoted, and allowed to exist on social media that has turned up the temperature in all political conversations, all social conversations, and all discourse on the internet in general to a
Hello, Kick
point where
Squad.
it's
Yeah,
almost
Fasalis says hi.
unrecoverable. You have people that are out there all the time advocating for violence, advocating for people to get killed. Somebody needs to take
And also, they will celebrate when people do get killed. If you ever checked Reddit in the last 24 to 48 hours, yep, that's exactly what's going on over there.
care of this guy. Somebody needs to deal with this. I wish he were dead. Won't somebody do it? The 8647, all of the crypto messaging and all the doxing, right? Why do you dox somebody? Why do you post
I had to leave a number of Discord servers because of people I thought were friends celebrating. Oh, damn. I've actually heard a lot of similar things about people cutting off friends and leaving servers that I read about on the internet because they figured out that people that they thought were completely normal were celebrating the death of just this random normal guy, which I think is horrible.
the
I'm
person's
sorry,
home
man. It
address?
does suck.
It's to make other people that are insane, like the person who killed Charlie Kirk, it's to give them the ammunition they need to kill that person and to put that person's life in danger. That's why they're doing it. And so that's the reason why they want to find out the identities of ICE agents. That's the reason why they want to find out the identities of Tesla owners, like at the beginning of the year. It's so they can destroy their car and destroy their lives. And this isn't necessarily a one sided thing. I think that in the last 5 years or so, especially since BLM, it's been a like 90% left wing thing. But that doesn't mean that the 10% right wing people are right either. But I do
True, true, true. Two wrongs don't make a right,
think
chat.
that now you're going to see a lot more right wing people balancing out those scales. The fact
Yeah, that is true. When I saw just pretty much everywhere in the internet, so many people got radicalized after this assassination attempt. It's not even funny. It's okay. Got better peeps like y'all and Smugglers and Wendy Bros, etc. Yeah, you got us, we got your back, man. But yeah, as I was saying, like a lot of people who were before this event, they were extremely like moderate, extremely tolerant, I think is another word to use. After that event, they were out for blood. Like I saw people who were like, the most lenient of lenient, wanting the assassination perpetrator to get essentially flayed out and executed in public. I actually don't know what the result of this could be. It could end up being a nothing burger and blows over maybe in a month. I don't know. Or it could have thousands, if not millions, of people make a dramatic shift across the political spectrum to the far right. And what that means for the US and the world, I don't know, but a lot of people are really angry about this.
fact is that you can take a knife to a gunfight all you want, and you can think that you're honorable, but you're going to end up being dead.
Unless you're Raiden.
And I think that's what right wing people have done for a very long time. They've tried to speak above the political violence, they've tried to advocate above it and not try to.
Hold up, the AI mod just deleted something. People were already on the edge with the recent stabbing of Irina, the Ukrainian, I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't know. Ukrainian refugee on the train, yes. I also saw a lot of Discord, oh jeez. I saw a lot of discourse about that as well. Apparently the media coverage of that incident is basically non-existent. But there are a lot of people on the internet who have been talking about this, spreading awareness about it, and just how upset that they are that something like this can occur. It's not like it was just a freak first-time offender. This was a guy who was known to have a criminal record, who was known by the authorities to be a bad actor, but he was still running around free. So this is a completely avoidable situation that should never have happened.
Stoop down to that level. But the issue is that a lot of these social media companies.
Hold up. Big paragraph here. I tend to look into history when stuff like that happens and it's escalating. Political violence here in Germany peaked, of course, in the 20s and 30s. It got that bad that every demonstration had to have a mortuary van with them, and things escalated quickly. Yeah. You ever heard of the snowball effect? Now, I'm sure you guys know what that means. You know, it starts off small, then it picks up speed, and it exponentially grows out of control. Yeah, I was thinking of the Weimar surgery. Yep, it starts off small. It starts off, with a couple of minor incidents. It builds up. Someone gets shot. Someone does shooting in retaliation. Tension builds up, and eventually the whole house of cards comes crumbling down, and something pretty dramatic comes out of it. This is what is happening here. I think you might be right. Now, I don't know if it will go as far as, 30s Germany, uh, because they don't share the same level of factors as Germany had. For example, um, the after World War One, the Weimar Republic suffered immense, and I'm talking immense, economical devastation, and that's something that the US doesn't quite share. Even though a lot of young people feel as if they're being financially strangled by the system that's currently in play, it's not as bad as post World War One Germany. But that doesn't mean that it cannot escalate to the same level. Like it's not impossible. I would say it's less likely, but still not a impossibility. But yeah, I hope it doesn't
have
get there,
expressed
because even if you say, okay, we need radical solutions to very difficult problems, the problem with that is that there is going to be a lot of how do I put this? There's going to be a lot of overcorrection to where even people who deserve to say, I don't know, get executed because they killed a public figure like Charlie Kirk, they're going to take things a step further where even anyone remotely aligned with an opposing ideology could be at risk of being unfairly executed, if you get what I'm saying. Because they never want to be in a situation again where they were in that position of suffering as they are now. I think you guys are hopefully picking down what I'm trying to put up here, is that if it does escalate, it is probably going to be a massive overcorrection to the problem. And this happens a lot when you have a very slow, slowly progressing issue. Like, so you ever heard of the expression, you give an inch, they take a mile? Usually something like that happens as a slippery slope effect, where it's a little bits of ground are being lost. I suppose you could use that um, consecutively over time, and people just give in, give in, give in, give in, and the problem gets worse and worse and worse. And instead of a moderate or fitting solution to that problem, people will massively overcorrect to ensure that that problem never ever starts again in any sort of form or severity in the future. So that's just my 2 cents. I don't think any of us do. I pray we never have to go to that point, because there's no coming back. Yep, there is no coming back. Even Asmongold has said things like, the issue with allowing all these problems to continue at the rate that they are going without ever curbing the issue, it's going to make World War II look like a walk in the park. There's going to be another dictator that's going to arrive somewhere, whether it's America or in Europe, and it's going to be far, far worse.
literally zero desire to even do the bare minimum of
I promise it's not me, guys. Okay, I'm not that type of German. Just because there was one accident when we had the swastika in the background on stream does not mean it's me, okay? That was complete accident.
moderation. I think that two of the worst
That's what I
actors
fear,
are
young people in despair.
Twitter.
Yes. Speaking of, that's exactly what happened in Nepal this week. The Generation Z essentially had a massive uprising, and they burned their parliament buildings to the ground. And some of their ministers, I believe, or their family got even killed. So, fear the young man who has nothing to lose.
X and
Anyways,
Reddit.
moving on.
Both of these platforms are full of a bunch of
Allegedly, yes,
extremist
yes.
nut jobs that not only should have their accounts
Definitely.
banned, but they should probably be put in mental institutions.
Yeah, can we please make mental institutions and mental asylums great again? I'm tired of these crazy people running around ruining it for everybody else.
And I think that now I find it to
And if they don't do it now, when it happens later, they're not going to the asylums, they're going to get killed.
be kind of interesting taking a step back for a week or so and seeing
Because the
how
amount of
many people
sympathy
are
they're going to
coming
have is going to
around
be
to
far
the
less.
inevitable reality that this is the only path forward. There are so many people in society now that are just completely unhinged, under-medicated, and really just completely insane, that you
Yeah,
can't
we got
have
a
a
lot of
person like
crazies.
that running wild out in society. They cause problems for themselves, not to mention everybody else around them. And I think that the society, we need to have an honest conversation about how to deal with these people in a way that, and I'll be real, I don't really care about the people that are crazy. Their well-being and the way that things are for them. Of course, obviously, I wouldn't want it
Either you get asylums or camps caught. That may be more true than we'd like to admit.
to be bad, but it's certainly not important. What's really important is all the people who aren't crazy, making sure that people that are not crazy, that are good actors, that are law abiding citizens, are able to live a life of peace, a life of prosperity, and a life without fear of going on the subway, for example, as at the recent event as well. And I think that every single person in the world deserves to live in a place like that. And I don't want to see, America turn into a PvP server.
It's already getting there, apparently.
And it sure seems like it is. And I think that in order to
Yeah, he's
prevent
right.
that from happening, we need to have honest conversations about what do you do with people that, get arrested 14 times. And it's not even a question, right? You put them in jail and you throw away the key and you compel them to work, and that way you can make the money back from imprisoning them forever.
Hey, look, it's the camps. I 100% agree with him. If someone has been to jail 14 times, usually for the exact same crime, they should never have been let out. And then, hold up. What was that? Oh, nice. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Darn. I closed my browser. There we go. It's back.
That's the way that you solve that problem. It's very simple, actually. But
Hi. Hey, Pure Path. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're busy discussing the incident that happened with Charlie Kirk. Very unfortunate. And Asmongold has a few wise words for society that we're busy listening to as well. And of course, I'm giving my 2 cents on it. I'm trying to be, normal and honest and just tell people what the likelihood of outcomes are. But yeah, welcome on in, man. Enjoy your stay. Enjoy the app.
but for some reason, the way that that makes people feel has made them unwilling to look at this obvious truth. If you look in history, this is what we've always done in history, and it's because it works. And the problem is that now we have so much of the discourse that's dominated by emotional thinking, that's dominated by the most unstable, the most virtue signal, the most, ridiculous performative empathy possible. And
Which, by the way, is getting so tiring. I feel like now, more than ever, in the last many, many years, people are very much tired of being emotionally blackmailed into other people's worldviews. Otherwise, they get criticized as a racist and Islamophobe. People are just tired of being told that. And I think more and more, especially with the younger generations, they're starting to just completely, in some cases, completely just disregard that position. And in other cases, they're starting to say, yep, I agree. I'm an exist, I'm a racist, etc., etc. Which I think is probably not something you want people actively going out and saying. Because the more times you tell someone you're XYZ for believing in ABC, the more they're going to agree with you and actually act out the insane things you're accusing them of. And then you shouldn't be surprised.
that's defining a huge political voice in the country. This has become a tremendous detriment to everyone. And I think that with people like the shooter that probably shot Charlie Kirk, with that guy in the subway that stabbed that Ukrainian woman, or with that trans shooter that shot up the school,
Oh yeah, don't forget about that, guys. That also happened pretty recently as well. Apparently there was like I think a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old kid that died. Very tragic.
one thing that's common among all of them is that these people, in almost all cases, were verifiably nuts beforehand.
And that's what I was saying before. Why are people who have been known by authorities to be either prone to these criminal acts or have been previously convicted of them running around completely, willy-nilly? They should be in jail or the mental asylums.
And nothing ever was done about it. And until we can
And you know what's going to end up happening if this keeps on happening? It won't be a case of they should have been in jail. It's going to be a case of the next time you find someone remotely similar, you kill them on the spot. So that is why, as you know, CT has been saying recently, things could escalate to become pretty bad if nothing is done right now.
Stomach the idea of solving problems like that before they happen, we're going to keep having problems. And I think that with Charlie Kirk, it's very obvious that the amount of political violence and advocating for political violence that's happening on the internet has turned up the temperature and created an environment and a culture where this type of behavior is normal. And not only is it normal, but it's actually encouraged. And the problem is that now people are acting.
Oh, by the way, just hot take. If you're the person encouraging political violence or for people to be assassinated, I think you should be thrown in jail. Like, not this whole UK and Germany thing, if you post a meme, you get tossed in jail. No, I think that is completely stupid. I think if you're actively calling for the death of a random dude who's giving out speeches and debates, I think you should be tossed in jail.
On it. And you're starting to see this happen, and I think it's going to continue getting worse. I don't think Charlie Kirk is going to be the last one, but I think that we will look at Charlie Kirk's death and see it as a turning point in this topic. And
yeah, he's right
what
about
I'm
that.
really trying to get at here with this entire point is that right now we are at a extremely pivotal moment.
The timeline diverges here, boys. It's either from here we end up in utopia, or we end up where everybody starts speaking German. Or something similar.
And I think that what's going to end up happening is that right-wing people are not going to continue to turn the other cheek. They're not going to continue to just, oh, well, this is just a crazy left-wing radical. I think you're probably going to see right-wing people doing the same thing to left-wing people.
Yep. And then it's only going to escalate from there because they're going to believe that their problems are actually being solved for the first time in forever. Alex Jones apparently announced he's going on a college tour across the US in honor of Charlie. Well, I don't know who Alex Jones is, but I think that is a very nice and touching thing for him to do.
And honestly, while I don't think this
No,
is
but
a good
big W
thing,
to Alex Jones.
I certainly don't really feel that sorry for them. Because a lot of left-wing people have no problem advocating for violence, or at least...
Oh yeah, it's all about kill XYZ politician or some other public figure or anyone who disagrees with them politically. But as soon as they get targeted, suddenly they want to play the victim card.
Using coded language in order to advocate for violence. The fact is that there's a certain level of intellectual dishonesty.
He was the guy yelling about gay frogs. Okay, never mind. Alex Jones is based. Ooh, I need to go follow that guy. I'm all for it. Yep. They're making the frogs gay. Wait, is he the guy who said that? Maybe I have heard of him before.
Where it's considered, oh, well, this isn't actually what they meant, and no, this is actually some other... No, it is. It
seems I do know about him.
They're trying to advocate for killing people that they disagree with. That's what's happening, and there's no talking around it.
And you know what's going to happen? The people that they advocate for killing for, whether it's just through language or actual action, the same is going to end up happening to them, and then they mustn't cry.
To the extent that you try to, you're insulting the intelligence of anyone that you're speaking to. And I think that now you're going to start seeing a lot of right-wing people end up doing this to left-wing people now even more, because it's very clear that these social media platforms are not going to moderate this behavior. The FBI, for whatever reason, just refuses to deal with or have any degree of accountability for dealing with these obvious terrorists that are in the country.
Yeah, how many times has someone been arrested or convicted for, I don't know, something stupid like murder, and then you search their social media and all the red flags are staring at you right in the face? I feel like that's happened more than once, guys.
And because of that, I think you're going to start seeing an uptick of violence from right-wing people as well. And this is going to be, in my opinion, I don't really think the word is justified.
We had him on our... Yep, I've seen that so many times. I'm tired of it, frankly. I'm tired of these obvious lunatics just being let loose to run around willy-nilly and commit acts of atrocious violence, and the authorities do absolutely nothing both preemptively and sometimes even reactively. And I think Asmongold here is right about people on the right side of the political spectrum are going to start being more violent. And what's the scary part is that when the right-wingers actually start being violent, it is going to far eclipse any of the shenanigans that the left is being doing, especially in recent years.
Not justified, but the word is expected. I think it's going to be expected. The fact is that, again, you bring a knife to a gunfight, you're going to lose. And don't be surprised when you keep bringing guns to gunfights and then somebody else decides to start shooting back. I think that's what's going to happen. And I think this is a degradation of society as a whole. And
It is pretty
ultimately, the
sad.
real burden of responsibility here doesn't really fall on influencers. And I don't think that it falls even on the commenters themselves. I think it falls primarily on the government. The fact is that the government, there are already laws that permit, explicit calls to violence. There's already laws that permit the types of stalking and doxing that people engage in online. And one of the big things that is a misconception is that people like me want new laws. We want any form of extra censorship at all. I certainly don't want that. And
I don't want that either. I am very much against this mass censorship that's being pushed for.
I don't know anybody else that does either. But what we do want is we want the existing laws to be applied and to be
And to be applied universally without exception.
enforced in an accurate and a fair way, which is clearly not what's happening.
Yeah, I'm
And
tired of other
really,
people
the
getting
government
special
not
privilege from the
doing
law.
that and giving this asymmetrical, in my opinion,
Even social media does this. I think you guys even know that Twitch will ban certain people for certain things, but they won't touch anyone else who does it.
advantage to left-wing people to fully and with complete freedom practice genuine terrorism on a daily basis, and then congratulate each other about how moral and how good they are for doing it because something bad that happened in Palestine or something bad that Donald Trump did 3 years ago.
Hello, Mary Dark. How
This
you
is
doing,
just
man?
simply
Welcome on in.
a response. This is what's going to happen. And so, and I think that that's probably what it's going to take for these left-wing people to realize what a bad idea
How are you? I'm doing
what
pretty
they've
good.
been doing is.
How you doing, man?
Because until it starts happening to them, until they start having people that are their friends or their like icons that they look up to, the same way people looked up to Charlie Kirk, until they start seeing those people get killed, I don't think it's really going to be real for them. And unfortunately, I think that's the path that we're headed
Thanks for asking.
down
I'm also fine.
because of the
That's awesome to
government
hear.
and social media companies and every other seemingly governmental apparatus that has just completely hand-waved this problem and ignored it entirely.
Yeah, and the longer you ignore it, the worse it's going to get.
So,
Are you a new streamer? No? Well, technically speaking, I'm new to Kick. I've been streaming on Twitch for almost a year. I think on the 18th of September is going to be the 1 year anniversary, but I haven't been a VTuber for as long. But I only recently started streaming on Kick, that's why I don't really have a very high follower count on Kick, because I only recently started there. But I plan on continuing to stream to Kick, it seems like a fun platform, and most of my viewers tend to prefer it as well.
Charlie Kirk and the assassination
Fox
of him
Olga? Yeah,
should
I'm
not
Olga
come
now.
as a surprise to anyone. This should be something that everybody could have expected. All you had to do is read Twitter for an hour.
Also, the thing I like about Kick is that they only take 5% of the revenue from subscriptions, which is very nice. So it puts a lot more in my pocket, it helps me a lot more. What do you usually watch on YouTube? Well, that entirely depends on what my community suggests. So it could be documentaries about certain interesting topics, like maybe video games. I big gamer, so I do like video games. So if there's like a deep dive on a certain lore game that I really like, I'll check it out. I'm not the hugest fan of discussing politics, but normally when something does happen, people do recommend it. I don't mind watching it. Uh, Also, I love well-made memes and like things like fan animations. I've watched a number of those that my community has. Rainforest, oh please, do not bring up the Fur Fest again. There's been some pretty weird stuff that my community recommended that I've peeked out. But normally I just watch whatever people suggest because I think my community is pretty pretty nice. You know, they generally recommend stuff that I do enjoy. But I cover a wide variety of topics.
And you could have told me this would have happened, of
I like
course.
to give you more dollars.
Same
Yeah,
with
same.
Reddit. And until that core problem.
But my funniest thing that I've ever watched, hands down, has got to be Racist Shrek. That was the funniest YouTube video I've ever seen. I know it sounds racist, but it's actually such a well-written story about combating racism, and it's about Shrek, and he fights. So wait, no, it's Witcher Shrek who fights. I think it was God of War Donkey. 10 out of 10 meme video. Is this model your own? Yes, it actually is my own. I think it was finished on the 18th of August, which was my debut day. So I haven't had it for very long. I've had it for like less than a month. And I absolutely love it. I adore it. I think the artist who worked on this did an absolutely amazing job on this. And my rigger, who also worked on this, he basically just rushed as fast as he could to get this model operational, I suppose you could say. So it's going to be a couple of more, maybe like a week or two, maybe 3, before the proper rigging gets implemented. So as you can see now, like, you can see the hair moves a little bit, but the ears are like completely static. So that is something that's going to be rigged with its own weights and physics, as well as a bunch of other stuff. If you want, I can show you the full model if you really want to see it. Or did you get made by an artist? Yeah, it was made by an artist. I'll bring up her Twitter page when we're done this video.
Problem is addressed. You will
And then when Asmongold's finished speaking, I'll show you the model.
continue to see a rapid decline in any type of social discourse, and I'm actually kind of afraid to see what's going to happen next.
I wonder if this will end up leading to the Second American Civil War. Do you have a Discord? Yeah, I do. I actually do have a Discord. Hey Fasali, if you're in the chat, would you mind tossing the link into the Kick chat for my Discord? I know it does pop up with the bot on my Twitch chat, but I don't think I've set that up for Kick yet. Drop your Discord link. I'll ask Fasali if he can drop that in for you. If he doesn't respond within like the next minute, I'll do it myself.
Because I think it's just going to continue getting worse.
Okay, thanks Vasali. Just do that for my new chatter there.
And I don't see the reason for it to stop. And so anyway, I wanted to make this video because it's obviously a topic that, you know, I've been talking about this a lot for the past few years now.
Yeah, he has. I've seen a few videos on this.
A lot, and people are telling me.
Yeah, everybody thought Asmongold was absolutely crazy, but I feel like he just has a really good grasp on reading what the average person thinks and just understanding the social and political climate. You know, you can basically cut through all the nonsense, basically see what's going on here. So I think anyone with common sense could probably see that this is eventually where it would have ended up. It doesn't allow me to post links to your KekW. Okay, I'll get it. By the way, did you get this character and rigging made together? Not quite. The character was made by my artist, which was Ashibu, and then I had a second person rig the character. Oh wow, you actually got it? There we go. Well, let me see if I can paste that. Hold up one sec. Okay, never mind. Fasali got it. There we go. Just remove the space, you should be able to get in. Now, let me see. There we go.
I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, and oh, they were joking. Well, I saw the video. That wasn't a joke. And the reality
price? 5 grand, excluding the rigging.
Is that those jokes and everything create a culture and an environment where the actual actions are more permissible. And you also have people that are the ones telling me quote jokes that are talking around just, you know, directly, you know, saying that this is a bad thing and it shouldn't be tolerated for any reason. You have, I don't want to go through a bunch of different names, but anybody, this is the way I look at it. I'm just going to make a categorical judgment here.
Okay.
Is that any content creator or anybody like this who has been advocating for violence against a person in an extrajudicial way? I'm not talking about trying people who they disagree with for treason. This is advocating for the judicial process to be used against people they disagree with. I think that's fine. But whenever you have people that are saying things like 8647, or anybody who's advocating for any form of extrajudicial justice, extrajudicial justice, and basically vigilante justice on people who they disagree with politically, you have to realize that all of those people, I think, have made themselves acceptable targets. And I think that there's a
That's a hot
lot
take.
and millions of people out there nowadays that see that.
Yeah, I think definitely that the judicial system needs to be properly enforced. Because you don't want people having a position where people cannot be properly tried for anything, and then they put justice into their own hands. Pardon me, can you say it again? I was fixing my headphone. I said it was about 5 grand,
And I think
excluding
that
the
that should
rigging.
be extremely worrying for them. It should be terrifying. But the reality is that they have created that environment themselves through their own
Yep, that is true.
actions, through their behavior,
You should not be calling for someone else's death.
and through their own words.
Like, if they hadn't committed a crime worthy of that.
You reap what you sow. And I think that things are about to get a whole lot worse.
Because someone is going to take the initiative and take you out first. Just saying. I also agree with Asmongold. Things are going to get much, much worse after this. I don't know how much worse,
guys,
but definitely
I wanted
worse.
to make this video and talk about it, and that's about all I've got to say. So
All right,
I hope
thanks
to
for the
be back soon. I'll record videos when I can, here and there, but for the most part, as I said before, my dad has had so many really serious issues going
Yeah,
on.
prayers for the dad.
I need to devote my full attention to making sure that he's healthy and taken care of. And so, as much as I look forward to streaming, this has to take priority. I don't have a time frame.
Send me a request on my... I'm not sending anybody a request. If you want to join the Discord, Fasali gave you the link.
It will probably be a matter of weeks, and maybe not even that long until I'm
No, you don't. I'm not accepting DMs.
back regularly. And so hopefully that's the case. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Another senseless death that never needed to happen. And I think that
Yeah,
anybody
suspicious.
who was, talking about this and turning up the heat on any of this type of political rhetoric and discussing, or at least, flirting with the idea of political violence, I think all of those people have made themselves acceptable targets in all of the worst ways possible. And I don't think that this is a good thing either.
True.
But I think it's happened. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching. And I guess I'll see you soon. Anyway, peace.
Alright, see ya. It was crazy seeing Asmon and Tectone coming out of hiatus for this. Yeah, it was pretty insane. Like, they both announced that they were basically going to be putting their streaming on hold for some time, and then this happens, and then they both start talking about it, so it was pretty crazy. Clappies, yeah. If you guys want the link, as usual, it's in my Discord, because my paste doesn't work for some reason. We'll definitely... Wait, am I not subscribed to Asmongold? That was weird. We'll give him a sub. He seems like a chill dude.